Low blood pressure. Let me talk to you a little bit about low blood pressure. People often say, I suffer from really low blood pressure and sometimes I feel very lightheaded. Sometimes I actually faint. I'm very prone to fainting. I feel weak and tired. And indeed, when you check people's blood pressure, it can be very low, which is not necessarily an unhealthy thing unless people do faint, fall over, injure themselves, which occasionally we do see. High blood pressure is actually much more dangerous because that's associated with increased risk of heart attacks and of strokes, which could be disabling or even fatal. Low blood pressure is usually a pretty healthy state of affairs. It means that your arteries are healthy and that your heart is not having to work too hard to pump the blood around your body. However, as I say, you can get symptoms. What can you do about low blood pressure and how low is it before you get symptoms? Normally, the average blood pressure for a healthy adult would be about 120/80. And the two figures reflect the blood pressure when your heart's actually beating and the pulse wave goes around, and the period in between heartbeats, which is the blood pressure most of the time. So we look at both the figures when we check the blood pressure, and some people have a blood pressure maybe below 90/60, and they're the ones more likely to develop symptoms of low blood pressure. So what can you do to correct that? Well, it's more likely to happen when you're resting quietly and then you stand suddenly and your blood pressure drops at that moment. It's more likely to happen when you're very hot. Blood vessels in your skin are opened and dilated and there's less central blood in the system so that the overall blood pressure falls. Another time it can happen when you're very emotional and worked up, stressed, can happen then. It can also happen if you've drunk a lot of alcohol. So those things can predispose to low blood pressure symptoms. And what you can do is to drink plenty of water, take more water on board so you're not dehydrated. The next thing is to just dress in cool clothing. Keep your skin nice and cool so the blood vessels constrict a little bit and your blood pressure goes up. Another thing you can do is to slightly increase your salt intake because that will draw fluid into your circulation. And then another thing to raise your blood pressure is to exercise regularly, to sharpen up the reflexes in your circulation that keep your blood pressure up when it starts to go down. So exercise, lots of water, cool clothes and regular checkups for your blood pressure.